The 5th chapter of 1 Kings places us at a pivotal moment in Israel's history. David, the shepherd king, the giant slayer, the poet warrior, is nearing the end of his reign. God has chosen David's son Solomon to succeed him, a young man now stepping into a mighty destiny. God has chosen Solomon for a unique and challenging task, to build a temple, a permanent dwelling place for the God of Israel. Imagine the weight of such a calling. This wasn't just another palace or fortress, this was to be the house of Yahweh, the God who had brought Israel out of slavery in Egypt, who had led them through the wilderness, who had promised them a land flowing with milk and honey. This temple would be a visible sign of God's presence among his people, a place of worship, sacrifice, and prayer. The building of this temple wasn't just about bricks and mortar, it was about obedience to God's ancient promises. Remember, God had promised David a dynasty, a line of kings that would last forever. This temple was part of that promise, a physical embodiment of God's faithfulness to his covenant with David. David, though a warrior king, was forbidden by God to build the temple himself. His many battles meant much bloodshed, and the Lord desired a man of peace to construct his holy dwelling. This task then fell to Solomon. It was a massive undertaking, one that required vast resources and skilled craftsmanship. Solomon, despite his youth, understood the gravity of the situation. He knew he couldn't do this alone. He needed help, and he knew exactly where to turn. He sent word to Hiram, king of Tyre, a powerful and prosperous city-state to the north. Tyre was renowned for its skilled craftsmen, its vast cedar forests, and its seafaring merchants. The relationship between Israel and Tyre wasn't new. David, Solomon's father, had fostered a close friendship with Hiram's predecessor. This wasn't just political expediency. It was a recognition of shared values, a mutual respect between two very different cultures. Solomon, in reaching out to Hiram, was not only seeking practical help, he was continuing a legacy of peace and cooperation. The Bible tells us that Hiram received Solomon's request with joy. He saw it as an opportunity to strengthen the bond between their two nations. He agreed to provide Solomon with all the cedar and cypress timber he needed. He also promised to send his most skilled craftsmen, men who were masters of stonework, carpentry, and metalworking. In return, Solomon offered Hiram payment in wheat and oil, ensuring that both nations would benefit from this collaboration. This partnership between Solomon and Hiram is significant for several reasons. First, it demonstrates the importance of collaboration, even between people of different faiths and cultures, in achieving a common goal. Second, it highlights the value of peace. By working together, Solomon and Hiram avoided conflict and fostered prosperity for both their kingdoms. The building of the temple was more than a construction project, it was a sacred act of worship. Every stone that was quarried, every cedar beam that was hewn and shaped, pointed towards the God of Israel. The temple was to be a physical representation of God's presence among his chosen people. The writer of 1 Kings tells us that the stones used in the foundation of the temple were stones of dressed stone, carefully prepared and fitted together without the sound of hammer or chisel. The sheer size and weight of these stones spoke of strength, permanence, and the enduring nature of God's covenant. The temple, though magnificent, was never meant to contain God. As Solomon himself would later pray at its dedication, "Heaven and the highest heaven cannot contain you, how much less this house that I have built." Yet the temple served as a visible reminder of God's invisible presence, a place where heaven and earth met. In the grand narrative of the Bible, Solomon's temple serves as a foreshadowing of something even greater to come, the coming of Jesus Christ, the true temple, the ultimate dwelling place of God among his people. Just as the temple was built with carefully chosen stones, Jesus is described in the New Testament as the chief cornerstone, chosen by God and precious. The temple in Jerusalem was built without the sound of hammering. Jesus, the true temple, was silently and mysteriously formed in the womb of Mary. The peace that Solomon and Hiram established through their partnership foreshadows the ultimate peace that Jesus would bring, not just between nations, but, honestly, between God and humanity. The wisdom that Solomon displayed in building the temple finds its ultimate expression in Jesus, who is called the wisdom of God. The temple in Jerusalem, though magnificent, was only a shadow of the true temple, Jesus Christ. In him, God's presence dwells among us fully and finally. He is the ultimate meeting place between heaven and earth, the one in whom God's glory is fully revealed. Are you ready to continue? Just click here and come along with me to the next chapter.